and welcome to the pod. My name's Grace, and with us we have Alethea, who's going to teach us all about how to become a designer in fashion. So thank you so much for coming.
Hello.
So please tell me what your job is as a designer right now.
So my job right now is I work for Next, the high street company, and I design accessories, basically. And also do trend, so I predict hopefully get it right, what people are going to be wearing next at the moment, what they'll be wearing next year.
Wow.
So with a view that, this year chocolate brown, butter lemon, or butter yellow, those kind of colours, and then what will it be next year? So it's my job to kind of predict that.
Which is incredible in itself, like a year ahead. Wow.
Yes, yeah.
So we'll get more into that because I'm excited to hear about it, but we'll go back to the beginning and tell us, what did you want to be when you were growing up?
I have to say I was quite fortunate because I always wanted to be a fashion designer from quite early on. I think I wanted to be a film producer at one point, an inventor at another point. This is sort of quite early on, but I kind of settled quite early doors on being a fashion designer. That was, I think one Christmas I got bought one of those cut-out sort of dress sets.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, so I think I got a Princess Diana one.
Nice.
That's how long ago it was. And
a fashion icon.
And I just kind of, I was quite young, and I just was constantly changing the outfits, and this, that, and the other. It's that sort of cliche of, having like dolls and stuff and making little outfits for them and all those kind of things. So it was just something I kind of wanted. Yeah,
and you've done it
from the beginning. Yes, and I did.
That's amazing.
I was very lucky, actually. Yes.
What did you do? Did you do it at school? Did you go into uni?
Yeah. So my background is quite. I came from like a council estate, like a single parent family, and I probably didn't. I had a supportive. My mum was very supportive, but she probably, like a lot of parents, don't know how to support something. So I was quite lucky at school. I had a teacher who basically I said, I want to be a fashion designer. And rather than just sort of laughing or sort of, oh no, you're never going to do that. You better think of something else, which is sort of what the careers advisor had sort of said to me. She said, right, you need to go and do your A-levels, get some A-levels, then you need to go and do your foundation, and then you need to go to university.
Wow.
And I just did all of that. I followed those paths.
What a wonderful advocate to have so early on.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was really lucky, and I really appreciated that, because otherwise I probably wouldn't have had a clue. Yeah. Really. There are different routes and different things you can do, but, I sort of followed that. And yeah, okay, my aspirations when I was younger, I was probably wanting to be the next Vivienne Westwood. And, no, I'm not the next Vivienne Westwood, but, I still do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you enjoy it?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
It's changed a lot over the years. It's evolved a lot. I've worked at a lot of different companies.
Yeah.
A lot of which aren't here anymore. They sort of maybe disappeared. I started working with designers and then sort of, went down the production chain, so to speak. But it's always interesting. And
for
although
sure.
things come round and round again.
Which I find so wild. I mean, it's that classic line, isn't it? Everyone's like, I used to wear that. And I was like, yes. It really does come back. So after uni, what was your very first steps? How did you get into the industry? Because I can imagine it being very hard to get into the fashion industry.
Yes, it was. I'd done for some sort of quite. I did work for Vivienne Westwood. I didn't.
That's cool.
I didn't become her, but I did work for her.
That's very cool.
Yeah, so that was really exciting, and that was everything I thought the fashion industry was, and it was, and things, and then I worked for some other designers and different things, and it was a lot of fun. And then when I finished, I took a job in production for a handbag designer, Lulu Guinness, and I just thought, okay, I'm just gonna do this. And it was at the time where handbags sort of was starting to gain momentum. It was the beginnings of like Anya High March and people like that, and it was really sort of starting to grow. And then the job in production then turned into being her design assistant, and then her design assistant, you know, that role kind of became a lot bigger. I started to like travel around the world and do different things, and go to Paris for the shows. I'd go to the Far East, Italy, different places to develop her range and things. And yeah, that was probably like the most sort of creative part of my career, I'd say, at that point. You know, we really were doing her vision, whatever she wanted.
Yeah, because that's what I was going to say. How does that work? Does she give you an idea and you sort of go off and design and bring ideas back? Like, how does that whole process work?
It definitely varies between when you're working for a designer or like in my role now, for example. Obviously, it's my vision, albeit in a slightly different guise. But whereas now I do what I want to do, under the assumption that it will sell.
Yeah.
Whereas when you work for a designer, it's more sort of their vision, and you're basically making their vision a reality. So one of the things she wanted to do was, for those people that aren't necessarily familiar with her, does lots of quirky different things, and she wanted to do a bag that was like a castle. And then we were sort of thinking, it'd be really good if it was like Rapunzel, and then you had hair coming down this, one of the turrets and everything. And the supplier at the time, he was like, I'm not going to be able to do this. This isn't going to work. And so I went away and made a model out of basically toilet rolls, I think it was. And then he made the bag and everything. It looked amazing. And I think it was a year ago or something like that, there was a big handbag exhibition at the V&A, and there was the bag.
No way! So how cool is that?
Yeah. So that's a way
real
of,
moment.
Like, one of her visions that I sort of helped become a reality, really.
That's really cool. So then she'll be like, we can make this work, and then they'll make it, and then they sell it.
Yeah,
wow. It must be really cool to see your designs out there being used, and like because that will stay around forever. Like, that'll be remembered.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's in even some of the for a bulk of my career now, I have worked for the high street. So, but I still get that buzz. For example, I was on holiday and somebody was wearing something that I designed, and I was like, oh, look.
That's really cool.
Oh, look, I think I was telling my daughter, I was like, oh, look, I did that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Or I think when I used to work for Marks and Spencer's, and they used to sell a lot of, the wedding fascinators.
Yes.
And that was my sort of job, part of my job at the time. And I'd go to a wedding and they'd be like, oh, there you go.
Yeah.
No, that's mine.
There's my range.
So there is a little degree of ego, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you work so hard on it. So when you literally came out of uni, is that just applying to places and hoping for the best? Because getting to them, like, high designers must be pretty hard to get into.
It is really hard.
Yeah.
And
like, if someone wanted to do it, how would you say to do it?
I think yes, you should always, like any kind of job, I think you apply for who you want to apply for, and then see what happens. I hope things have changed slightly, because it is one of those industries that can slightly maybe take advantage. So there is this sort of working for free, unpaid internships, things like that. It is shifting. Things are different, but I don't believe that anybody should really have to do them. It's harder for bigger companies because they do have graduate programs and different things, but yes, they're extremely competitive and all the rest of it. But I think any kind of your little side hustles and different things, and just be open to trying any part of the industry, because you never know where it's going to lead to. And even if you're looking at the manufacturing side, for example, maybe you're working on that aspect, and you've maybe got an aspiration to do your own label, I will say, make your mistakes with someone else.
Yeah.
and then when it comes to doing your own thing, you might have made contacts. You might be working with a factory or something that can help you out in what you want to do.
It's great advice.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing. I mean, I certainly, obviously, like I said before, I was working for a designer, so it was their vision.
Mm-hmm.
But I had, with a friend, we had a stall on Portobello. So we would like make things, and I was making handbags and jewelry and different things. So we had sort of that going on.
That's cool. So you could sort of just like applied for a stall, and they let you, and you just pay. Wow, that's really cool.
So we just did that, and that was cool.
That is fun, and making your own stuff as well, because that in itself sounds tricky to me. But you've got to love it, and you've got to have that kind of like manually knowing how to do it. You can't just have an idea and send it off to someone else. You're actually making it as well.
Well, in theory, depending on what course you do at uni, you should be able to do that. So, I mean, that's one of the things. Hopefully, you come out.
Fine, that's part of the course.
You should come out knowing how to do that. And you know, in some aspects, there are different areas that are, I don't know. T-shirt brands, for example, it's very easy to get T-shirts printed with your graphics and customizations and different things. So there's lots of little avenues, and some of those businesses are maybe a little bit more exciting than some of the maybe older, more sort of heritage brands, really.
For sure. And so then you say you were at the designers and then you went to High Street. What was the reason for that change? Was that natural, or you're just ready for it?
I'll be totally honest here, money.
Yeah, okay. I like the honesty. Yeah, you've got to be.
It was money.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it's better paid High Street side?
Yes.
Wow. I find that very surprising.
Maybe if you work in the States or something like that, maybe it's slightly different. But yes, ultimately that's... You're dealing in such bigger quantities.
Yeah.
You know, like if I, when I was working in some of my high street companies, you know, you might be designing something that sells like £1 million a week or something like that.
Right.
So there's, you know, it's a bigger machine, I suppose. Whereas some of the smaller designers, you know, it's hard for them.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it is sort of trickier, and it's tricky at the moment.
Yeah,
I think
for sure. So now you're in accessories.
To be honest, I've always done accessories.
And did you always just want to do accessories?
No, I sort of fell into it.
Yeah, that happens.
But weirdly, in my new role, well, no, it's not new anymore. In the job that I have now, I actually am sort of broadening out into doing more kind of like clothing. But yes, ultimately, I studied clothing.
Yeah,
That's
it just kind of happened.
And then that was a job that sort of came my way, and it's just sort of evolved from there, really.
So I know nothing about the fashion industry. So you have to predict next year's.
Yes.
How do you even begin on that? Like, what's the process for that?
So there's a lot of just, I suppose that I am I like to think of myself as a creative person. So your eyes are always open, so you can see sort of like the subtle kind of shifts in things. Just wandering around, art galleries, you know, exhibitions, all those kind of things, films, you know, people on the street who've maybe got slightly more like creative style. Obviously, catwalk shows are shown about 6 months before, so you get influenced by them. But it's really just, it's amazing actually how the industry sort of roll in a kind of the same direction, despite everyone not necessarily knowing what everyone's doing. Yeah,
that's what I've always been confused. I'm like, does everyone meet up like this is what we're doing, and like everyone follow it?
No, it really is kind of like a bit of a natural evolution. There are certain things, predictions that we get, like one of the trade fairs that I've just been to a couple of days ago in Paris. It's all the fabric mills. And they sort of show their new collections. So they kind of, follow a little bit of a pattern. It's the difference between macro and micro trends. So, for example, I work a lot on macro trends, which are influenced by, I don't know, Trump, for example.
Right.
Well, a lot of people might be quite surprised that actually has an influence on things. Will Americana's always quite a key thing, that sort of LA look or Western or those type of things. But with the sort of opinions towards like America maybe like waning slightly.
Yeah.
It then shifts maybe to a more European aesthetic, and you're just sort of like working it around like that, really.
It's a lot of the trends influencing us, really. Like, we think we're making our own choices, but really we're being quite influenced.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Is there ever a time in fashion where you're like having to scramble? Like, are you like, oh, we've missed something? Or is it like, no, everything's done that far ahead that it's out there?
Yeah, there's definitely been that's happened in the last sort of, I suppose, 5 years, like TikTok, for example, where you get these little micro trends that just catch you completely unawares. And you're like, where on earth did that come from? But then there's been a lot of thinking recently that actually people are, as quickly as they're coming in, they're going out.
Yeah.
So unless you're working for a brand that can literally turn it around instantly, the bigger brands, they're sort of almost like, actually, no, it's not worth going after this, because by the time we get it in, it's
that's the thing.
It will have gone.
And also, if you're turning something around that quick, the quality is not going to be. No, exactly. Yes. So
no.
Yeah.
But yeah, things do move quite quickly, especially subculture trends as well. Where it might be a key figure that will just Kanye and the bell bottom. No, not Kanye. I'm going to show you. You can edit that bit.
I can edit that.
Really show my age there. Kendrick Lamar,
yes,
and his Celine like bell bottom thing, jeans that literally was like, oh my god, where did that come from?
Really?
And then all of a sudden, you've got people trying to, get hold. They were Celine, so they were obviously very pricey. But then everyone's like researching where to get the kind of boot cut, these boot cut denims from and everything. I think even my son went out. He was like 18. He went out and bought off Depop this pair of like boot cut jeans. So there's things like that just sort of they just happen. Wouldn't kind of necessarily predict, but yeah, that's what it's all about.
And so like with now, so you working another 6 months, we literally just move on from trends then, and you leave them behind and you move on to something else.
Yeah, some of them stick around a little bit longer.
Okay.
Like, what have we got at the moment? Sheer layering and things like that. Sportswear, utility, those kind of trends, they sort of tend to have a bit more of a longer lifespan. Obviously, like during the whole COVID time, it was loungewear, everything was very relaxed, the jersey things, but whereas now there's a kind of back to work kind of aesthetic, things are becoming a little bit more formal and a little bit more tailored and things. And then sometimes you get these really interesting sort of macro trends to do with women, which you often find in times of recession or tricky times. Women's waists come in, or the shoulders might come out, and different things. It's sort of, there's sort of a weird parallel. So at the moment you have like big baggy joggers. Yes. But it might be a very tight top. So
I have seen that.
It's all on the waist.
Yeah.
And quite often that's as a response to
what's happening,
economics and things like that. So that's very bit deeper there.
No, it's good to know. It really is, because I find it. I love clothes, but I've never really considered myself like a fashion girly. So I all of a sudden, like, I think not long ago I saw like lemons everywhere.
Oh, yes.
They were everywhere, and I was like, where have these come from? And it's like, it's just quite amazing, isn't it? The influence. I'm like, who influences who? But I know I work in marketing. Like, I know how it works.
Actually, on the lemon thing.
Yeah.
I went to the Amalfi Coast in, when was it, June. I reckon a bunch of people went to the Amalfi Coast and they were like, it's all about lemons.
Yeah.
Because that is just like lemon central.
It's everywhere. I went and I was like, what is happening? Yeah. I agree. Like some people must have gone and be like, we're bringing this home.
Yeah. So that's exactly an example of something that kind of popped from somewhere.
Yeah.
And it will literally have been a new holiday destination where everyone's like, right, that's where everyone's going.
It's wild, isn't it? For somebody because I think people are going to listen and be like, wow, a fashion designer, this is a dream job, and it is. For someone that wants to get into it, what kind of, I don't want to say values, but like what kind of person do you need to be, like really switched on to trends all the time, or what kind of advice would you give to them?
I think don't get caught up in the sort of idea that you have to be this, I don't know, extrovert wearing wacky clothes and doing all this crazy stuff. When you're at university, that is your time to completely do whatever you want, explore whatever visions you want to do or aesthetic you want to go after. But the fashion industry is a massive industry. So when people have said to me in the past, I don't really care about my clothes, or I'm not really into fashion, everything somebody wears, somebody has designed. So even, I don't know, a builder digging up the road, that uniform has been designed by somebody. So it's really about thinking, well, what do you want? What is your kind of your leaning? It might be knitwear, it might be tailoring, it might be jersey, or you might be into lingerie or swimwear, or it's about just sort of trying a few things and working out where you sort of land. But I suppose if you're thinking about what qualities you need to have is hard. Like it is really hard, and you've just got to like learn from people. Don't be afraid to push the boundaries. I always think when I've like interviewed different people, never play too safe in a kind of interview situation, because it's a lot easier to rein someone in than to rein someone out. So if somebody is designing all this like amazing stuff, it might not be quite right for the brand, but if you can see like, okay, give them some advice and be like, oh right, you just do this, that's a lot easier than trying to push someone. No, you've got to be more this.
Yeah, that's fantastic advice. I love that. You mentioned a lot of travel.
Yes. Yeah.
And that sounds really fun. Like, so you go to fashion shows, trade shows, and that's to like pick up the trends? Have I got that right?
The fashion shows was a long time ago.
Right.
That one, sadly. My end of things, I probably don't really get that anymore. I did do it. It was fun.
I bet they were pretty crazy, were they?
Yeah, so when I did the Vivienne Westwood show, that was when all the supermodels were there.
Oh,
so
wow.
There was Kate Moss, Naomi Campbell, and like Linda Evangelista. They were all just sort of backstage. So yeah, that was fun times, and they're amazing to watch, and they're a great atmosphere.
Yeah, I bet.
But yeah, I don't really get to do that so much now. So often people think it's a lot of fun, and I'm probably just done a lot of it. So
yeah.
I'm going to try and be like really positive about it, because it is an amazing thing. There's several trips you do. So you do inspiration trips. So I will go to New York. I will go to Seoul this year. I've just been to Paris, just been to Amsterdam. I was in, where did I go? Saint-Tropez, Ibiza. So, go to all these places. And it's really about, I look in the shops, we'll look at what people are wearing. It's just soaking it all up, really. And then the other trips we do are like development trips, and they are the far less glamorous side, where you go to basically factories, and you go to India, China, Bangladesh. Might get a Europe one if you're lucky.
Yeah.
But yes, developing product, and that's it's long nights.
Literally seeing how it would be made, or how it could be made?
No, you literally sitting there designing.
Oh.
And then choosing fabrics, colours and everything.
Ooh.
And then the factories will then make your product.
Wow.
Not there and then. And then you get that back in a couple of weeks' time and you're like, oh.
Yeah, it just came to life.
Yes, basically.
It's quite cool because I know I can imagine it's definitely long, but seeing them different, like every bit of the process, it really becomes like your baby, this thing, which is cool.
Yeah.
And you must be designing multiple things at a time.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah. How much would you design at any one time?
So I have sat in some meetings before, some factories, and done maybe like 100 things.
That is a lot.
Yeah. But then equally you might do, I don't know, 30 or something like that. So it is a lot. But it's a lot easier when you're there and then and you can do it. It sounds a lot, but it can be quite quick.
Yeah. Well, I guess if the creative juices are flowing,
yes,
then you just kind of go with it. Is there a lot of feedback? Like, do you design something and someone might be like, that's not right, or change this, or are you very much in kind of control of your own design?
Oh gosh, I mean, the whole development process, because you are designing a lot, sometimes a lot of it won't work.
Right.
Like, I didn't really pan out.
Yeah.
wasn't really my vision. So there are things that just don't work. There is a pressure, and I'd say that's one of the hardest things as a designer starting out, because you've got a vision in your head.
Yeah.
And then you're putting your faith into somebody to make that a reality. Whereas perhaps when you were at university, when you're at university, you might be the one physically making it, so it's very personal to you. Whereas when you're sort of asking someone else to make it for you, and then you're like, why did you do that?
Yeah, that's not what I wanted.
I didn't ask for that at all. Like, it's completely wrong. And that can be a bit sort of demoralizing. But then sometimes when you've done something, you're like, oh my god, it's amazing.
Oh, nice.
So it's even better than I thought it was going to be.
And that is a lovely feeling.
Yes, so that is really nice. But yeah, it can be a little bit like soul-destroying sometimes.
I bet.
And then with regards to feedback, obviously we work in the high street. You work with a buyer, a merchandiser. Then you obviously have like your management team as well. And yes, I have had, managers in the past. I did have one once who just like pick it up and shit.
Oh my god. That would break my heart.
Yes, you have to have like a little bit of a thick skin.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but sometimes you can get your like revenge when it's suddenly everyone else has got it and you're like, well, you didn't like it.
Yeah.
I presented it to you, but you didn't want it.
It's the best revenge.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's very sort of few and far between.
Yeah. Usually, I guess you're the designer. They're trusting you and your vision.
Yeah,
that's what your job is.
It is a team process.
Yeah.
So it's not you're never just on your own. On my end of things, anyway. It is, we all work together. And like I said before, often you've got a buyer will be the person to rein in their designer, essentially, and the merchandiser will be the one to rein in the buyer. Yeah. So yeah, it's all it's like the trifecta, we call it.
And you all work at Next, like
it's any big corporate company. High street, well, not just like big company, you will have those functions,
right? And
so I guess that's what comes down to the choices within the industry, for example. So if you love products and you love kind of you've got ideas and everything, but maybe you don't quite know how to create it, you might find that actually you might make a better buyer than a designer. And then if you like the kind of money side of it and you're like, right, I'm going to like buy 10,000 of that and this, then maybe but you're not really interested in creating it or anything like that. You might want to be a merchandiser. So yeah.
It's so good because it's like you said just before we started, there's so many jobs in fashion.
Yes.
Everybody thinks it's just a designer, and it's like there's actually loads of avenues.
Oh yeah, completely. Yeah, all the way down the line. I mean, we're, I guess, like the sort of starting point of it. But then you get into, you've had a vision, and then one of the little ones we sort of talked about was the styling of like satin scarves, like little neck
Yes.
scarves, but worn over the head with a cap on top. And obviously that's now, you go into every shop and that's how they're sort of visual merchandising it. And the marketing team, they had actually pulled together and they'd done some style shots. And then the management team were like laughing at it.
Oh gosh.
And then it was like, well, there it is.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Like everywhere.
Yeah, it's mental, isn't it? But that's the thing, it's a lot of different opinions. I mean, with fashion, everyone has a different fashion sense and what they like and what they don't. So I can imagine coming together, there's always going to be somebody that doesn't like it.
Yes, you have to be, you have to not be too precious.
Yeah.
Because not everyone's going to like what you do.
Yeah.
And to be quite honest, by the time they're finished talking about it, you'll have moved on to the next thing anyway. Yeah. So you're like, oh, okay.
That's why you take so many options, right?
Yes. Yeah. It's always evolving.
It's that's the fun thing, isn't it? It's constant change.
Yes.
You're always learning in fashion.
Yeah.
Which is exciting. You can't settle.
No.
You're always on the lookout. Are you looking at stuff everywhere you go, whether you're working or not?
Yeah, that is the little frustration. Like
Yeah.
even when you're on holiday and you think you should be relaxing, and then sometimes I'm like messaging my buyer and I'm like, oh God, I've just seen this woman. She's wearing the most amazing kimono. Like, I think we should do something similar. And yeah, it's sort of all the time. I was really lucky. I went to a vintage fair in New York. Oh my God, it was just so like lovely. It just took me back to the beginning of my career and just seeing all this like amazing stuff. And I was like, oh, that is like the new thing. I can see everybody is gonna like be getting after that and things like that. So that's a great source of inspiration.
It's fun. Like if you love it that much, you're kind of immersed in it wherever you go, which is great. Yeah. So what is the dream for you? What's the goal?
My goal?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think now my goal is probably to inspire other people to sort of do it and be creative and, you know, those kind of things. I think that's probably... I know a lot of people say, oh, would you like your own brand and this kind of thing? And it's a lot of hard work. And I don't know, it's not right for me now, but I would say, you know, if that's something you want to do, then you need to like go for it.
Yeah.
There's no bad mistakes really on that front.
And it's like you even said, it's like even getting a stall on Portobello Road, like starting something like that, creating your own thing. There's little ways to do it. It doesn't have to be the biggest thing immediately.
No, it doesn't. I mean, I started the stall on Portobello and then I was doing like jewellery and then I think the buyer from Selfridges came along and then she liked my jewellery, so I sold my range in Selfridges and like boutiques and stuff. I don't know if it's like that so much anymore, but you know, it was very organic.
Yeah. You just have to like get out there. Like that's the thing, isn't it? Because you didn't know that was going to happen, but because you were there.
No, not at all. No. And that was a really sort of nice thing. So I just would really love to encourage people to do what they want to do. Don't necessarily drop your life savings into it, but just do something for you, and it might evolve into something, it might not. But I think during COVID, I got really into vegetable dyes. I had this great idea that I was going to do these vegetable dyed socks. And, you know, avocados, you get this beautiful, like, pink colour, onions as well as, like, really beautiful colour. So I was getting all excited about this, was dyeing all this silk fabric, and then I was doing these socks. But vegetable dyes aren't colour fast, so my whole business idea sort of went down the pan. So it's like the one clothing item you wear and wash is socks.
Yeah.
But I had all these beautiful swatches and everything, and I'd sort of put them all together. And then when my job at Next came up, I showed them that, and that got me my job.
Wow. Because they could just see you were being creative and you were just doing things.
I loved the colour and the concept and everything. Yeah, no, I didn't start up this world-dominating vegetable dyed sock business. But
you were trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But I did sort of produce something that actually did result in something. So
that's a great tip, isn't it?
Thing.
Yeah, like taking those little bits to interviews and showing that.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great goal, like you want to tell people, because that's exactly what you're doing on this pod, and just like giving people the very first steps and the little details, because I think people get overwhelmed, especially with fashion. Like I feel like, and so I think that was really super helpful. So thank you so much. Was there anything else? I really appreciate you taking the time.
What little nuggets of fashion. I think, or the only thing I would say is have fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes industries have gotten a bit serious, and I think it needs to be a little bit fun.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure that you like and subscribe so we can continue to make these and keep teaching people how to become A. Thank you.